If something in reality upsets you, then there's something that you are not owning. For example, if you still hold a grudge against someone and you're like, if only they could be this way, then I wouldn't have so much stress upon me. You need to own that you are the one that let that person into your life in the first place. You are the one that let them pull your strings. You are the one that judged them and allowed yourself to be hurt through that judgment and to ruin your happiness through that judgment. You are the one who allowed that person into your life. You are the one who has created that attachment in your mind of who you'd like them to be, rather than truly taking a look at who they actually are and accepting that as it is, face value. Anytime you are blaming someone for the reason as to why you are not happy, you are not owning your part in this equation. And your part is 100% of it. It's all of it. When it comes to the contributors to your suffering and your lack of happiness and fulfillment, it's 100% on you. What boundaries are you not setting? What are you not accepting about the situation or this person? Where are you frustrated with yourself? And how do you project that frustration with yourself onto other people? There are no problems in reality fundamentally. Reality just is. It is our minds that makes it so. It is thinking that makes it so. It is the projection of story, our interpretation, that makes it so. It's the stories that we get caught up in that makes it so. What are you not accepting in this present moment? That is a little blurb that I wrote earlier today, as this insight has surfaced quite sharply once again in my life. I've looked at behaviors in my mind of judgment, thinking that if only this person can do this, or if only this person can be this way. So many times we are attached to who we want someone to be for us. And that's the reason we can't show up for ourselves. So many times we let our own happiness be ruined because we let something other than us determine. We offloaded the responsibility. Now, I know in that writing I'm pretty sure I said something around the person twice. Because it is that important. So often, we will look to other people to build us up. So often, we will look for other people to be the one to be our pillar. But we have to own that if we want life to go our way, it's all up to you. 100%. The main point I want to make here is I want you to 100% take responsibility for all of your happiness, for all of your state of consciousness in life. And notice how much you participate in this process. What I'm suggesting here is that you can actually become so conscious of how you participate in your happiness, how you participate in your suffering. That you can realize that it's all on you. 100% of it. And it's ridiculous to actually realize that, because that takes a lot of strength. Because strength, what I've learned this year, so much so, strength is owning the truth. And a very practical practice to help ground you in this is meditate for 20 minutes and just watch your mind and what it comes up with. And notice that you are not these thoughts and you're just experiencing these things. The more I've meditated in my life, the more I could separate myself from all the stories, the problems, and just watch it and be like, okay, reality's happening. It just is. And I have a choice I can make on how I interpret this. And honestly, it's a really radical stance to take. It's like, if it's someone's fault that they're negative, yes, they're a negative person. Yes, they give you a hard time. Yes, they can't follow through. Yes, they will not change. But it's still your responsibility on how you let that affect you. It's your responsibility to who you let in, who you hang out with. What do you allow to enter into your mind? What memories do you allow to penetrate your narrative of the day? The more I tune into my body, the more I can realize just how much these memories will bubble up, and I will feel it in my body, and it's negative. And it's like, what the fuck? Dude, I'm just trying to have a good time here. And my subconscious is just bringing in all this negative narrative. So throughout the day now, I will, as if I was sitting, meditating all day, I will write down what comes into my state of consciousness. Like, oh, I'm noticing a lot of self-hate in this moment. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm feeling it in my body. I'm noticing a resistance to this, and this is where I feel it in my body. I'm noticing I'm going into more distractions or vices or what have you at this time. And to be patient with yourself, to make this a process of curiosity. What if, so open your mind to this. What if you could have such awareness over your interpretations of reality that you could completely discharge, cut off at the knees, all of the things that would usually make you feel bad about yourself, that would usually take out your confidence, that would usually allow you to have a get out of jail free card as to why you're not going to take responsibility for whatever this situation or endeavor is. When it comes to life, we have to not put our responsibility on another figment of consciousness in reality. And with that term, I want to reference Leo Gira's video on his project actualize.org on the video States of Consciousness is Everything, where he talks about this concept of figments of consciousness, basically explaining how everything in reality is figments of consciousness, and he goes into depth in what that means if you're interested. But for the sake of simplicity here, I'm going to replace figments of consciousness with other, as in a situation, an object, a feeling of pain in your body, or this relationship you have with this person, or the person in front of you, or a substance that you take, or the clothes you wear, or the titles you put on that you have. I've noticed in reality, you can dress the part, you can go on the perfect day, you can take the substances, we can offload our responsibility of participating in reality onto other things. So to give you a tangible example, imagine going to a club on Halloween and you're taking some substances or alcohol or whatever. What I've noticed is you have that expectation. Oh, it's Halloween, so it's going to be big. So I'm going to put my responsibility that it's a good night onto the fact that it's Halloween. Or like, oh, I'm dressing up, so I'm going to put my responsibility on dressing up. And like, oh, I'm going to have some alcohol, or, people are on weed or whatever, right? And I put my responsibility on that, rather than owning the truth that you can dress the part, you can look the part, you can be on the right day, but you still have to show up and decide for yourself how you want to experience reality, how you want to perceive reality. You can have the systems, you can have the habit tracking, you can go to the schools, you can go to the Toastmasters, you can go to the clubs, you can have the official title, you can have the doctorate degree, you can have the marriage, you can have the relationship, the title that you're boyfriend and girlfriend. But how much are you actually showing up from yourself? How much are you actually taking responsibility over how you interpret reality and how you actually go through reality? What's magical is you can reach a point where you reach a state of mind across the day where you're noticing all the time, like, oh, my mind's going negative here. I'm noticing that I'm not enjoying this conversation here. And I want to bring in a little lesson from boundary setting. Key insight around boundaries. As soon as the thing that you don't want enters your state of consciousness, that's when you can set a boundary. Maybe someone's just talking about something that you don't really jive with. To be able to recognize, like, oh yeah, I don't like this. Or there's something there that's not energetically correct. This term of energetically correct has increased my awareness on being able to put my finger on situations that I cannot fully articulate. I can just say, there's something that's not energetically aligned here. I don't feel energetically correct in this moment. Try that on for yourself. Notice these intangible situations in life that just don't quite fit, and just label it as, is this energetically correct for you? And what I've noticed for myself, to try and wrap this topic up, is that what's energetically correct for me, and I can imagine for other people, is owning how I feel in every state of consciousness. If I choose to have a relationship with this person that makes me feel this way, that's my fault. If I choose to take up a job where people treat me this way. That's my fault. I'm owning that. My interpretation of them as their story putting onto me, that's my responsibility. If I feel like they're making me feel bad, that they're making me feel like a loser, that's my fault. If I have a negative experience, if I get a rejection from a job, from asking a girl out, from a business proposal or whatever, a rejection of any form, how I feel about it is my responsibility. How I interpret it is my responsibility. A lot of times this is easier said than done, of course. But what I've noticed is that if you can even just take on this attitude of responsibility and to assume that you can have this ownership, this control, as soon as you start to own more of what's going on, you actually start to be able to have more control of your emotional systems. You're able to detach more. You're able to snap out of it more. So, what I would like to finish with is asking you a very specific question to help you apply this, the essence of what I'm trying to say here. I want you to notice throughout your days, your energy levels, how you feel, like if you're feeling happy, sad, mad, angry. And when you start to dip in the negative territory and you're starting to be like judging this person, and it's taking away from happiness, because judgment takes away from your happiness. Recipe for taking away your happiness: start judging people. When you're noticing judging people, when you're noticing, oh man, if only this could be this way, then my life would be better. I want you to ask yourself, what am I not owning about reality right here in this moment that is causing my suffering? Sometimes we have to own a mega shit ton of stuff. Like, I have not been putting in the effort I wanted to put in for the last 5 to 10 to 20 years or more. Let's say, for example. And I am here in reality with this lack of skill set, or with this lack of job, or with these low quality relationships, or living in this town I don't want to be in. To own all of that. And when you can own it, this is my dream, this is my reality. A profound silencing of the mind happens a lot too, because a deep acceptance of yourself, a self-love starts to take place, starts to enter the room. Because rather than, oh, I should be this, I should be that, just own that, yes, you feel this way. But own that you're the person that got you there to feeling that way. And really, if you want to get anywhere else in life, from where you are right now, if you want to change your situation in life, the more you can own, the more power you have. So if you want to take that power back, and I'm talking on the fundamental moment-to-moment state of consciousness level, start to ask yourself, how am I contributing to this moment? How is my perception? How is my thoughts? How is my interpretation of what's going on? What am I not owning that is contributing to my suffering in this moment? So with that, Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.